Let's begin with a term that you have used, ISIS 2.0. Does ISIS 2.0 refer to the potential spread around the world of fighters who were formerly in Iraq or Syria?
I mean, there are a number of concerns with regards to the developments in international terrorism, which is definitely more complex and more international than ever. Those, for instance, who are now trying or already have left the conflict zone in Syria, in Iraq, let's say battle-hardened, sometimes brutalized, definitely sometimes with the skills they need, for instance, to build a bomb, which is not that easy to do, but they might have the skills. And don't forget that foreign terrorist fighters from more than 100 countries have been traveling into the conflict zones in Syria and Iraq.
You talk about ISIS 2.0. Plainly, then, you do not believe that ISIS has been defeated.
I mean, there's still a huge and a complex terrorist threat. And again,
so ISIS has not been defeated.
Just ISIL has lost most of its territory. Okay, that's fact. We see some of these fighters now being part of the insurgency, remaining in Syria, Iraq. We see some of them that already have been trying to leave the country, going back home, the returnees. And we see those who are trying to go to other theaters and maybe continuing their terrorist activity. The threat is still very acute, the threat is complex, and the threat is more international than ever.
The threat from ISIS?
From ISIS as well.
How worried are you about trying to make sure that you've identified every former ISIS fighter currently in Syria and Iraq?
I don't know. But again, our approach is to help, to collect as much information as possible. Yeah. For instance, we have a data. Let me give you an example. Yeah, we have a database on foreign terrorist fighters. We started that activity in 2012 just with 13 profiles. We have now almost 50,000 profiles. So this information potentially...
50,000?
50,000, almost.
And these are 50,000 people who potentially spread around the world?
Potentially spread around the world. This is work that we are doing, of course, in close cooperation with our national central bureaus, like the National Central Bureau in Washington, which has been playing a major role because that program was mainly supported by the United States also as a leader in the global coalition to defeat ISIL.
US forces are being withdrawn. The situation in Syria is changing. Do you have enough time to identify all of the ISIS fighters, former ISIS fighters, to ensure that you keep an eye on them as they potentially spread around the world?
We have been offering this support to the relevant governments like the Iraqi government. And as long as they allow us to do that work, to support the national authorities, we will continue this work.
Have any of your calculations changed as a result of President Trump's decision to withdraw
We are continuing this work. Again, we are a member of the global coalition to defeat ISIL, which has been helping us significantly in receiving relevant information from battlefields. That's a model which we have already been applying in Afghanistan in 2005, very successful, sharing this information, and that leads, again, to a significant number of arrests all around the world, almost on a daily basis.